Do you want the Star Wars trilogy and the mythology to go beyond your lifetime?
No. 3 will be the last film, and it'll be a 6-part series, and that'll be the end of it.
Incorrect.
You're not mentoring someone to take over for you?
No, it's...
Automatic defense procedures initiated.
There may be other venues for it, but not in the theatrical release.
Affirmative.
I don't want to have it just sort of turn into Star Trek. I don't want to have it just sort of turn into Star Trek.
Good evening, sirs and madams. It's your buddy Admiral Teag. It's good to see everybody out there. And as you can see, I finally got a chance to go get a haircut. And I look like someone who doesn't live in a cave, finally. Even though I would kill for the kind of spaciousness I've seen in some of the caves that I've seen on TV. Welcome to the top of the Silver Cup Studio building where we will fight for the prize. It's good to see 7 people out there. Hey, you know what? That's a lot considering that every single freaking person I know is live or streaming themselves tonight. So hello to you and thank you. There are many streams. You have come to the best. At least I'd like to think so. We got a lot going on to talk about, and I want to say hello to everyone out there. Let's see who we got. Sci-Fi Mommy dropped a hello before. Crimwan is here. We have Buddy Hepburn here. The Dead Man is here. It's good to see you. Hello, Radioactive. It's good to see you. And Critically Thinking and Drinking is also here. I just did an X space with him where I spoke about Star Trek, and he has a lot of love for the Star Trek, especially of Gene's vision as well, but he did have a lot of very interesting questions, and I did have to concede to him that the socialistic future, obviously it only so much works. It's great for story. It's great for Star Trek. It's like the replicator is great for Star Trek, and the basic idea is supposed to be that we capitalistically and through our own innovation develop the replicator, and that runs sort of parallel to humans taking a small step forward. It's in the Star Trek the Motion Picture novelization. Now they say the novels aren't canon, but there are whole passages written by Gene in there, so they are Kirk's inner monologue. Those are to me canonical, and he talks about a lot of that stuff in there. So also, Star Trek, never having a chaplain on the ship, that's Star Trek for you. And I hope I'm coming across clearly. I had the wrong audio source on before. What can I tell you? It's the fun of having the new equipment and having this camera to share my image with you. That sometimes it hijacks my microphone because what can I tell you? I'm not the smartest guy in the world. And if that's my neighbor knocking on the door, I just have to go grab the gold-plated Desert Eagle before I go over there. Let me just take a look and make sure the building's not burning. Always something to look forward to. If the building's on fire, I promise to turn on the camera. Give me 1 second. Maybe it was my Amazon guy. I'll check later. There won't be like an unboxing of my new like sweatshirt, like the hoodie that I got on Amazon. So, but hey, some good deals there. They got the Rings of Power, freaking steelbooks going for nothing. I guess that's how they're gonna make their money. But yeah, thank you. I had a great time. You're a great host, and I had a fun time with Critically Thinking and Drinking. He's a great X follow. Check him out on X if you do so. Also, tweet out that we're live onto X and help me increase the footprint of the show. It's always really great for the show. And like I said, here I am, your buddy Admiral Teag, and like newly groomed. Look at me, like I look presentable today. Like now, if I could only just start shaving. Love to you too, mate. That was a fun time. Always great to be the person on the other side of the microphone. Rather than the interviewer. So, guys, check out Critically Thinking and Drinking on X. He's there. And everyone coming through and anyone who comes through later, I want to say thank you. And watching with the browser for a little while really helps out. It really does help out, and it's made a big difference. And you guys are awesome. If you want to hype up the show, go ahead. Like, I don't turn my back on hype. I think you have to wait until tomorrow and only on mobile. I don't know. I really don't understand the hype, but I want to say first, like, as we get ready to go, Ruby Hoove has very generously given us a member for 9 months, has gifted 1 Admiral Teag membership. Thank you, Ruby Hoove. Let's see who got Ruby Hoove's membership. Let's check it out. I got to jump on the YouTube side here. Who got Ruby Hoove's? It was Abomination. AJ got one from Crimlon. Crimlon gave 5. Let's see. These are the people who got ones from Crimlon. Thank you, Crimlon, my 1923 and now my Landman co-host on the panel. Abomination, AJ, Resolute, Germ, Jonathan Hancock, Jim's Landscaping. Hey, Commodore. That's as far as you go, Commodore. Sci-Fi Mombi got a gift membership in Crimlon. Crimlon is hailing Ruby Hoove. Ruby Hoove, Janet from Another Planet got that one. Janet from Another Planet is the sweetest. She's very nice. She has a great YouTube channel of her own worth checking out. She is unapologetically a great YouTuber doing her own thing. I would say a YouTuber of a high quality. Check her out. Let me see if I can drop that link in the StreamYards for you. Janet from Another Planet, a lot of fun, cool chick, really, great takes. She has a good panel. She's on a lot. We love Janet from Another Planet. Let me put her this is her YouTube. I'm not as good as Doomcock. I cannot type and talk to the chat and interact and read at the same time. I don't know how he pulls it off. Like, Sean tells me these tales that leave me in awe. Like, Doomcock, if you could show me how to upgrade my brain so I could be that smart. And there's Quickly Thinking and Drinking is up there on highlighted, as well as Janet from Another Planet. Check her out on YouTube. She's great. She's on a lot. She has a lot of good stuff. And, stop by Critically Thinking and Drinking's channel, too, on YouTube. So now we got that taken care of. And thank you so much, Crimlon, for the 5 Admiral Teag memberships. And thank you, Ruby Hoove. Ruby Hoove has been a member for 9 months. Thank you. Like, subscribe, share, watch the browser tab open. We got some reporting. We got some information. We got some fun for you here on the Admiral Teag Show. You know what? As we think about Star Trek, we never thought that we would have this many moments of good news happening ever again, let alone in so short a time. But I think that I can report now that we are seeing perhaps a turning of the tide. I think that we have withstood that Battle of Bastogne, which is, in a Star Trek metaphor for us fans, been the 16 years of horrible stories, holding out year after year after year, being abused, being put down, and now, finally, it really does look like Alex Kurtzman might be finished. I make no predictions because Alex Kurtzman can hypothetically extend his presence at Paramount about another year and a half. He could have his name on stuff that we see in like early 27. He's not 100% gone, but they're starting to really flush, and there's very little aplomb. Paramount Plus in general is doing a terrible job of publicity. Terrible. My Landman stuff is moving kind of slowly. The show is not being promoted enough. It's finally showing up on the Roku channel. So people like me who have a Roku, you'll see it on your desktop. It's showing up, of course, at Paramount Plus, the discount, streaming service, but a good streaming service nonetheless. And, Landman has delivered to us some great, and thank you, Ruby Hooven. Thank you, Crimlon. And for the two of you, I think what we really need to do is we need a little bit of media. Here is Spock, where becoming one of us, guys. Spock, becoming one of us, or Bacon Spock. What say you in the comments? I would like one of us or Bacon Spock. You the next comment will decide. But on the TV side, Star Trek. When I was on Pop Culture Breakdown, we reviewed a movie about New York in the form of Heavy Metal, where I said that they got the city right. And also he asked me, what my hope was. And I said that I believe that Star Trek should be roughly 1 hour episodic TV show that pretty much makes sense, doesn't offend my sense of right or wrong, and is good enough to have on regular TV. And Doomcock said, you know what, you're asking for a lot. Well, he was right, and we still have not fulfilled all of our goals, but Admiral Teag has promised that Star Trek would be saved. On all fronts, the Kurtzmanists are on the run. We have their bad storytelling and convenient bullshit on the run. Their Rings of Power show may show for one more year because of the embarrassment of Bezos. But how many times are you going to pull the wool over some millionaire or billionaire's eyes? They went out there and crowdsourced their seasons from left-wing political donors. So maybe Star Trek did some good that way if it tipped the scale in an election, because the vision of politics we're seeing in the Star Trek that we had on TV, it was despicable. And now, of all things, we're going to have a Star Trek show about politics, but the writer seems to understand the role of politics in Star Trek in the sense of, we'll go to an Earth-like culture and they'll have a problem like the Salem witch trials, and we'll look into it. Maybe we'll have a debate about intervening, something like that. We could do something like that. That's within our ability as fans of Star Trek, and the writers of Star Trek. But there's no topic that it can't cover. So I was thinking how great it would be if they do get Star Trek United going, because Scott Bakula has really he has grown on me in these 3 seasons of Star Trek Enterprise. Season 2 really just was bad. It wasn't horrible, but it was a lot of meh episodes in a row. And there was a lot of poorly timed episode drops in a row. It was kind of like, we just sort of get in 0 hour. It's like, you want to see if you can get through to the Star Trek people, just like,
doesn't anyone see that this is wrong?
It's just, you cannot end your season-long story about saving the Earth by jumping into a time travel story. While that story in itself, and people defended Stormfront, and I'm open to the idea that it was a okay story. It wasn't great. But you had 3 to 5 different Star Trek episodes from the original series moving around in there in the meta of it. And that was great to see, as we remember now that we've been far enough into the show to bring on our friends online from the other side at the Green Bumble studio, where the real bumbling fool is, of course, Admiral Teag, who did not so much as upload an image for tonight's show. Maybe I should do that right now as I hit the start stream. And hello to everyone over there on the green side. Hello, welcome. There's a little bit of bonus content for YouTube, not a whole lot, but welcome all realms online now. I hit X earlier. It is interesting. X is an interesting experience in broadcasting. It's different. It is absolutely different, and it has been fun doing it. I didn't run the space, which was another good part about it. But as far as, let's talk about Star Trek United. Scott Bakula in season 2, he doesn't do any damage to himself as Archer. He shows that he can really act, and he starts to, there's a competence level that starts to build. He seems like a competent captain. He doesn't do a lot of boneheaded moves, although, Rogue Planet's an episode I'd like to forget ever seeing, and they have a few mistakes in episodes, in seasons 1 and 2, mostly season 2. The Shockwave event was terrible. It didn't work out. It was a bad movie. They were bad at season connecting movies. They really just were. The end of 0 Hour, the Xindi weapon thing was just so many logical plot holes, so many questions raised by the way they did it. What happened to those Xindi who got sucked back in time with them? Like, what was going on? And, the resolution that we're going to get this week in an episode called Home, which is more about the private lives of the crew, which, I'm going to say this. We have now 52 episodes into this show, or I'm sorry, 72. There are still 26 more. We get to like 98, I believe, at the end. So 72 some odd episodes into this show. I think that an episode where we deal with the personal lives of the crew is fine. That's fine. Because it's earned. We don't do that 1 out of every 10, episodes, or God forbid, like we do now, they do it all through every one of every episode, and it's terrible. And it's just terrible. I think Scott Bakula has proven that he could do a good show. The politics would be around ending the Romulan War. Sussman said that much. Sussman has survived 2 interviews that could have been train wrecks. He has shown really good judgment on 3 occasions. 1, he leaked the story at the right time and leaked the right information about it by saying that, hey, here's a rejected idea from Alex Kurtzman. It's different from his vision of Star Trek, and it is a sequel to the show Enterprise. Maybe check it out. And then we see what we saw at the San Diego Comic-Con with the people dancing in the parking lot and the fucking sheer level of ridiculousness of that. And, I know we all were laughing our asses off at how dumb it was, but imagine, with they are so poor that they have weaponized Star Trek. It's like, won't give us budget for a room. We'll put on a shit show in the parking lot. Just the fact that it had to happen in the parking lot is not befitting of a major TV franchise. Star Trek has been a backbone of CBS, and it comes from, Lucille Ball, and it comes from, the whole thing with Desi Liu, which creates also Mission Impossible, which, lasted until this year. It was another one that had legs. Not everything they did from Mission Impossible always the greatest ever, but it had legs. Look how long it lasted for. Lucy knew what she was doing. She knew how to entertain people. But you know what? And let's see if we can turn, it's the harsh white light that's on. If I could get on the peachy light that makes me look less. See, we have Teag in the dark, and then we have. Sorry, guys. I hope I'm not messing with your brains too much. There we go. The light's now off. That actually might be the best lighting of all. Who thinks the light off is the best lighting of all? And it's good to see Dave C. Dave C's a friend. I love Dave C. He's a great guy. You know what? Check out his channel. Dave C is out there. He is another great entity. Let me go grab that one, buddy, if you can. If not, I'll grab it in a minute. I'm going to keep elaborating on why I have faith of the heart in Star Trek United. Star Trek is a small screen franchise with rewatchability being a highlight. We have found out with Enterprise that a show denied its rewatchability finds it anyway. It found a new life in streaming. Linda Park said that, which shocked me because I wasn't aware of it. But it's the truth. On streaming, and especially in Europe, it is the biggest Star Trek show, especially season 1. Star Trek United is probably the best possible name for this. All right, and Scott Bakula has said he's on board, and he's renewed that. The original I'm on board was from 2016 or something like that, so it had to be taken with a grain of salt. and we had to think that maybe it no longer. So he revalidated that. Okay, here we go. Do you have faith that an Enterprise sequel / Star Trek United will happen, sir? Sirs or madams? Here we go. Here's your plan. And you know what? You deserve a chance to like the stream and see the results too. Not everyone has to choose. You know what? We don't have compulsory voting here. It's voluntary on the channel. And you know what? Poll will be live in just a second. Let me get rid of that. That is a mistake. Go away. All right. Hey, guys, the poll's live. Check it out. The question being, do you have faith that an Enterprise sequel / Star Trek United will happen? I've got faith. Sir, I don't think so. Like, stream, and see results. You know what? Let me know how you feel. And I love all you guys. And you know what? Maybe I should go Star Wars with this one, right? What do you think? Emperor Teag, is that a good move? Is that a good look for me? All right, it's Emperor Teag. All right, that's good enough. I proved that I really exist, and I'm not an avatar. All right, so hey, you're welcome, sir. Dave C is the best. Hail, Dave C. Great guy, and we've got. I'll grab it. We also have a lot of people who are going to come through later, and I want to say the likes that you give it now, when we can push past 30 likes, and that's been a problem now on Saturday with the last hour being kind of a struggle. We need to hit 30 likes to push to 500 views during the week. Otherwise, the show only stays live for a couple of days. Now, fortunately, we have a Landman show that no one has started counter streaming yet, so it's not a big deal. And by the way, this is we signed up for this. You're going to play baseball. You're going to get hit by a few pitches. There's nothing wrong with the inside pitch, but chin music goes both ways. You want to pitch inside. You know what? Admiral has only upped his game. Let me tell you a little bit about my Saturday when I preserve our Star Trek TV experience and hope for something like Trek United to come along. When I get ready for an episode of Star Trek United. Star Trek Enterprise, what I do is I usually spend about, and by the way, here's Dave C. He is a great guy. Check out his channel. You'll love it. He does all sorts of fun stuff. And one day should be one of us as a monetized YouTuber in every full sense of the word. As I pull the microphone closer, because I'm not seeing a big enough pop around my around my avatar. Am I a little soft, guys? Let me know if I'm 5x5. John the Beagle Dad turning in. Good night, sir. I know what it's like when you need your sleep. You know what? When I have work at 6 a.m. and I have to be on, the work location at work, talking to my superior at 6:15. It's rough even in a town like New York where the subway runs every 3 to 4 minutes. Here's the deal. Rush hour, train every 3 minutes, all lines all the time, like crazy. Hey, it's Roman of the Empire. He's another great guy. Roman, we got to find a way. I don't know if it's like rotating panel members between the shows or some kind of show of union. We haven't streamed together in a while, and I love Roman. He's a great guy. He was supposed to be. We were supposed to try to get him on here, but we weren't able to set it up, and that was a while ago now. So, sir, the invite to come on, and you're allowed to put Pippin on stream if you turn on the camera, and those morning walks are always an inspiration to all of us. Roman of the Empire streams more on the Star Wars side, and I mean we have a Star Wars, Star Trek discussion to be had that goes above and beyond, because we haven't talked in about a year on this one now, maybe even a little more. And it is kind of something worth revisiting, because Star Trek incoming damage after incoming damage after incoming damage, followed by an unbelievable, sir, we have the warp engines back online, sir, and partial life support restored, sir. Deck plating is coming, hull plating is coming back online, and the shields are nominal. We have a few shots on phases. It's like after all the Kurtzman sabotage, and believe me, this last thing from Kurtzman will be sabotage. I do not have good faith. I do not think that there will be a good faith or faith of the heart from Starfleet Academy. Starfleet Academy is that rarest of all things. It's a show that I cannot make a. Yes, we need to make a good timeline to make it work. We'll secure a date. We need to talk to the new Trek movie in concept and what it means. You know what? I'll give you my side of it right now. I'm excited about this one. And you know what, guys? Tweet out that I'm live for me. Deadman says 5 by 5. Thanks, buddy. Deadman was on here with us speaking for the fans. He had some great takes on Enterprise. We can't wait to have more of you on. This community has grown and gotten stronger. There's going to be some Star Trek content coming out, but not right now. Sustainability and growth of the channel is in the Landman side of things, and I can't tell you how excited I am about season 2 of Landman. It has been quite the pleasure to watch it. It has been a fantastic show to this point. And you know what? When I first started this, I was an admiral alone. Turiel was my first ever person to subscribe to this channel when I was describing blow by blow like a fight. Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. Absolute garbage that is neither Lord of the Rings, nor powerful, nor good TV, nor Tolkien, nor any of those things, sirs and madams. And I could see starting to slowly pile on a few views. You know what? They just clawed one back from me on YouTube. It's weird how that happens. This community really has been super helpful. You guys are aware of, and we have shown the receipts on the sabotage. We're gonna let that one go. I've done enough streams about the sabotage and the problems we've had, but I will say that you guys have been there for me every step of the way as we approach another YouTube payday where I get to experience the generosity of you guys. I would be remiss in not saying that the validation and the relationship and the friendship that you guys have given me has turned what was a socially isolating problem that I love to talk all the time about Star Trek. And I like to talk too. But you know what? I like to talk all the time about Star Trek. And I have great optimism for watching older Star Trek. I have great fucking affinity for the Star Trek community and my friends out there. And hello, Jason Love. F torpedoes ready. Oh man. Well, you know what? That's the only weapon I've been using is the F torpedo lately. The haters and people who have it out for me, if they're really in my wake, I'm not going to address them by name. God bless anybody wanting to do what they want. The world's a will to power, nothing more. I'm just going to try to out Star Trek people, and I would just make this sales pitch for my show. Everybody can do what they want, but when my show ends at 1 a.m. every Sunday Eastern time, the other show is less than 20% underway, and they're only going to be better at what they particularly do when you give them an hour to get warmed up. We'll leave it at that. I don't have any shade to throw at anybody. It's okay. There's nothing you can do about it. It's out in the open now. I mean, it's all but said. I mean, there is a targeted counter stream from the community. It's not so cool that they're just doing Star Trek right where we've been doing it for now 80 weeks, but you know what? That's just my ego talking. And you know what? If they want to do it, I can't stop them. I just have to do it better. And I also have to say, at the last hour of my show, when you're getting opinions from JT, Germ, and Sean, it is some of my strongest content. And if I have to go back to making uploads to get it out there, well, then of course I will. And you know what? There's this thing called listening later. You know what? My show is always 3 hours long. We try to keep it to that. If we're going to have a special guest, if we're going to have a week where we think that we have Mark on, he's a friend of the program, and this community knows him. He used to be affiliated with the people doing Star Trek on Saturday nights, and our fans love him. So we'll go long on a night every once in a while and say hi to our old friends and stuff like that. And friends old and new, welcome to the 10 o'clock Star Trek review show. Before that, there's a 9 o'clock show on Resolute Germ's channel where we have a chance to watch the episode with us. We're starting season 4. We just finished Stormfront part 1 and 2. Ugh, boy, good save. All I can say on that one. We're going to move forward with the episode we should have had, Home, where we welcome the crew of the NX-01 home and finally get Archer to sickbay. He has had lacerations on his face for like 7 to 8 episodes, ever since the Zindi scraped his face. He keeps getting punched in the face and re-punched in the face. And I don't know if it's consistent when he goes back in time. I think it heals when he goes. I don't even know. I mean, it's a little bit much. Stormfront was not one of my favorites, even the first time around. Interesting enough idea, trying to pick up on the man in the high castle. But as we found out, even The Man in the High Castle didn't make the best TV show. They had to make major revisions, although it made sense if their book would become a movie in our world. You know, it made sense. The book within a book, that is a trope that is made for books. It's great in 1984, and it's great in Man in the High Castle. I welcome all of you. On the big screen, we have had people talking about doing a Star Trek movie as we move into the second half hour of our show. The Star Trek TV front, it looks to be in fairly decent hands. We could have an entertaining show. Just give us a point of view, Captain. Give us an Enterprise refit or a new Enterprise with Captain Tucker. You can bring him back. There was a temporal Cold War. Use it once and forget about it. Please, just forget about it. But you know what? Bring back Captain Tucker. Give us Trip. We need Colin Trenier. Jolene won't probably be on the show. We do love Jolene Blaylock. I do think she was a big part of Star Trek. Sorry, guys. I think the mic went out as I turned the microphone stand. I apologize. I hope it was only out for a minute. I was talking about how in season 3 of Star Trek, the Enterprise, they really mess up their transition from the end of the Xindi conflict into another weird temporal Cold War kind of thing that just turns into a whole. How long was it out? 11:02 to 11:03. So it was like 1.5 minutes. So that shouldn't be too bad. Guys, these little glitches happen. It'll be better when Admiral Teague finds a working like audio deck to boost his signal and have like a better interface. Right now, I'm working off a USB Blue Yeti, which is about the best mic you can have. There we go again. It has the potential to be an SLR mic as well, but the thing is, it is a pretty good mic for what we have, and just right now, there's no deck that we can get for it that's going to work. I had a Focusrite. That thing worked for like 2 weeks. Right now, like eating up most, so it wasn't long, thank God, buddy. Thanks for the info, too. Real load off my mind. I should have gone and got my flip-flops while I was off for that minute, but what I will do is I think that you guys have maybe earned some bacon Spock and some new Trek nonsense. Buys me 40 seconds.
Insufficient sensor data. Incorrect.
10 fucking grueling hours.
I gotta be honest, the Star Trek people make it too easy to make fun of him with some of these lines. Like, why would you have Picard say that when your shows are always 10 grueling fucking hours? It's just like, they wanted to be trolled. You know, I still stand by the accusation that they were trying to make it bad on purpose to get fired. And I think right now they are making it bad on purpose out of anger and spite and being children about this to all of us. And, you know, we are owed a better Star Trek. And possibly, you know, we're going to get that. Star Trek United on the small screen front. Let's go to the big screen. The people from Spider-Man Homecoming. So that's the first one. That one's not too bad. It's not great, but here's the thing. This is what gives me hope. They were handed a weird Spider-Man who was broken and changed from the Spider-Man that we knew and had the Uncle Ben story taken away from him, and they still had to somehow make him into our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man that we would like. Meanwhile, he's got like basically been renamed. He should be renamed into Iron Spider with the suit. It's helping him hack his way through a lot of his problems, and he's not developing the way Spider-Man's supposed to. And the Uncle Ben mentorish kind of, you know, whatever kind of mentoring he's getting is coming from Tony Stark, which worked in their MCU to a degree. And what I'm saying is, if you look at Spider-Man Homecoming, that Spider-Man was such a lumped up mess of a story compared to the Spider-Man we're supposed to fucking get. And they talk about it in Spider-Man Far From Home, right? Or Homecoming's the first one, Far From Home's the second one. What is the final one called? No Way Home, right? Because they reset it. In the third one, when they talk about their different origins, it works out, and it's their only multiversal film that isn't a terrible disaster. So we got to give it that. But we see what they did with this, with Homecoming, which is not the worst movie, right? So Homecoming, better than it should have been, honestly. Is it great? No. Is it great? No. Anybody out there thinking it's great, let me know in the comments. I would say that it was like better than mid, so people accepted it. And Spider-Man is just like, he is the New York Yankees of merch sales and superheroes. Like DC has Batman and Superman, and like Marvel basically just has Spider-Man as far as that level. It takes both Superman and Batman to equal the sales of Spider-Man. He's huge. That's why Sony like only really had like him alone, and like now nibbles at the edge of that universe and has to rent him out for good coin. Although I understand, the handover is complete and he's a Disney character now. But he says, I'm not happy that they're bringing Zendaya and Jacob back for the new one. No. They need to move on after the reset. If they die, that would be cool because he cares about them. That would be cool if he lost them. If the theme is he needs to stay away from them and he can't, and then he gets them killed, well, then that would give him the tragedy that he misses with Uncle Ben. Although, Aunt May dying, she's a good enough actress. I'm not the hugest Marissa Tomei fan, but a good enough actress to sell that emotional scene. So I'll give it to that. Sheer fucking hubris. I have told this story before. I'll tell it again. There's a movie called Cabin Boy. You can see Admiral Clancy in it. She is the beautiful green chick, it's just think Star Trek there, who seduces the cabin boy. She's a giant, remember, and her husband is a gigantic salesman, and they try to sink the ship called the Filthy Whore. And the movie, better than its fate, but funny. She's in that. She's also in Clear and Present Danger. She's in Making Mr. Right. She's in Small Soldiers. She had a big career in the 90s in movies. She was in feature films, and she kind of was like a prettier version with a better body and but not the comedy of like Kathy Moriarty. She was good. Ann Magnuson was good, but she was a performance actress from like the New York club and punk scene. And she only did Star Trek Picard because they promised her that she'd get to work with Patrick Stewart, who she thought was great, and she loved Star Trek, right? And she only did the sheer fucking hubris under protest. She had a problem with it at the time, and she did it because there was going to be a redemptive arc. And when that episode dropped and people reacted, she said, you know what? There's going to be a redemption, I think, for maybe we haven't seen the last of Admiral Clancy. Then, after the last episode, if she either didn't have an NDA or didn't care, she trashed Secret Hideout for going back on their word, where they had filmed an ending for her in some claptrap style where they gave the Admiral her redemption. And then instead, they bring her back and have her subvert the storyline that she agreed to do and make a fool of herself. And she was super cool about it. Ann Magnuson, beautiful young, by the way. Beautiful young. She's like 67 now. But she was really beautiful young. She is super cool and loves Star Trek. If you check her out on Facebook, when she put down the bad robot people, 1, she called them liars. 2, she said that they probably wouldn't be in Hollywood forever after they crossed that scab line and screwed everyone over. They broke... The reason why Alex Kurtzman has a job is he crossed the picket line back in the '08 strike. So he's, not well regarded and doesn't have a lot of friends from that. Now, going on forward, he has done nothing but, wreck the good name of Star Trek. Ann Magnuson, as her defense that she loves Star Trek, posted pictures of her in like junior college dressed as a female red shirt with the skirt. In the 70s as a Mugatu woman with her outfit, a Kanutu woman, sorry, from A Private Little War, and she had the whole outfit. And then in the 80s, she had a whole TNG outfit that she was wearing, and she did Star Trek cosplay and like nightclub acts and like sang like punk dressed as a Star Trek character dozens of times, and like was a real Star Trek fan. And she bought the receipts of like stuff from every decade, stuff from every show, her dressed as Janeway, from the beginning with Kirk to the end with Janeway, to maybe nothing from Enterprise, but consistent Star Trek Halloween costumes year after year. She showed it all, and she said, I love Star Trek. It's the only reason I did it. They lied to me. So I don't know that Mr. Kurtzman is, hell, Teag of Borg. Oh, I know why you say that. There's a rumor about me out there. I've heard it said about me that makes people think I'm a Borg, and it's. I don't know if I want to confirm it or deny it. Computer, play the computer. Play the video file. Harrison, could you show the people, please?
I don't care.
Joe,
Motherfucker, you!
all right, you know what? It's what can I tell you? This is what they say about me.
I came home, there was a man in my house.
No, that's not what they say about me.
Find this man.
That they do say that a lot. No, it's that I have a mechanical arm. I do not have a mechanical arm yet. Not yet. I hope not to ever have one. But you know what else they say?
Why, Spock? Why? All you had to do was pull the trigger.
That's all you had to do, Spock.
Sure! It doesn't matter. Nobody cares.
So on the big screen side, we have the Spider-Man people from MCU are going to do Star Trek. Hopefully they watch a lot of Star Trek. If you do the research, it's going to be pleasant. I'm talking right to the writers. If you do the research, you're going to enjoy it. It's very pleasant. If you watch all that Star Trek, you're going to enjoy it. Once you understand Star Trek and you want to make good Star Trek, not the middle of the road Star Trek of Voyager, not the acquired taste of Deep Space Nine that's a long, involved, but really good story, not the prequel of Enterprise, but move forward, go after the end of the movies, after Nemesis. Take it 25, 35 years, put it in the same time frame as the Picard show, but make it clear Picard's dead. Have all ships get a transmission at the end of the first episode that Jean-Luc Picard has passed away in LeVar, France, of Ironic syndrome, and all ships will run with their running lights off for the next 24 hours as a salute to the great Jean-Luc Picard of Starfleet. Something like that. And, to show us that the timeline is the all good things timeline. And that we've moved past the end of that. Because we would have to figure that at the end of his life, Picard does eventually get the Ironic syndrome and pass away. But, at 120. And we'll say something like that. We'll show like a CGI Patrick Stewart where he's 120. We won't get his permission either. And we'll make it look like, like a little bit like a vampire. We'll have some fun with it. We'll use like late life pictures of Pope John Paul or something for fun. It'll be great. And we can move forward because that's the future of Star Trek. And it's good to see the Trek reviewer. And that's an odd place to plug in the mechanical arm, sir. Sir! Yeah, you know what? It doesn't have the spike on it. Let's take a look.
Enhance 15 to 23.
Had a mechanical arm.
I think it's very important that we have that in a place that we can find it. Let's see. Yeah, I'll put it up there with I don't care. Welcome as I learn StreamYards on the fly. Guys, you are the best. You have been the most supportive community as we get towards the end of another month. November is, in full swing. We got 1/3 left of it. I have nothing but enthusiasm. Usually what I've been doing is when we introduce a major story arc with Star Trek Enterprise, I've been making a video essay that goes along with how we do the episode rather than a slideshow because the trade-off in time is roughly equal. So I spend about 4 or 5 hours making that, but if there's a time crunch and I can't do it, or in the case of Stormfront, there's no way to keep symbols banned from YouTube off the screen. You can watch Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, but if you review it, you got to be a little bit careful that YouTube, if you have haters out there, they can make a lot of problems. So we had to scrub a lot of stuff, and self-censor the pictures. Always a drag, but that little logo of theirs that used to be everywhere, we had to get rid of that. So the video essay for Stormfront, not that possible. Now we're entering into one of the few standalones. It's not video essayable. You guys are the best. You know what? Here's the thing. When it comes to the Star Trek movie, I think we see people who have damage control ability. I think that they took a messed up IP and made about the best Spider-Man movie that you could make with that. I cared about Spider-Man in Homecoming. I did. I didn't mind Far From Home. I didn't mind it. No Way Home was obviously the best, but that has, human member berries of the other Spider-Man and, a really good show, to be honest. And you know what? I want to thank everyone who's stopping by here. We have, something that, is quite a compliment, that there are so many other people live and you would give your time to me. So your precious time, I can never give it back. I can only hope to entertain you during it as I take a quick sip of water. But first, let me shake this bottle of water to make sure the hydrogen and oxygen molecules are correctly bonded. That hits the spot. In New York, you can kind of get away with just drinking tap water, but I had some Poland Spring there because, when I want extra watery water, right? I am not going to be making a video essay, or if I do, it won't be much, for Home. Home is a fun episode. It's the episode we deserved. We see an armada escort the Enterprise back to Earth. The crew goes back to Earth. They're heroes. They enjoy the fruits of their labors. They get the acclaim they deserve. They try to move forward with their lives post this great adventure, this life-changing event. And we get into season 4, which unfortunately, that's the end for Enterprise and moves us towards the original series. So we already are getting ready to start member burying the Romulans. They're going to show up around episode 3 or 4. We're going to get an old Star Trek hand back. The Falcon Crest guy, remember him? Robert Foxworth or Foxworthy? I forget which one it is, but Robert Foxworth. He's a really good actor. He's like on the level of Richard Crenna and about as well known. Good actor. He's going to come back. He's going to play a Vulcan this time. We've only seen him as a human admiral who's a dick. As a Vulcan, I'm looking forward to seeing it again. He was an emotional Vulcan that didn't really work out, but what happened was, as we watch, we find out that he has fallen to something of the dark side, and he's going to pop up in the Vulcan Scrolls of Sirach writer. I will say this, they did better with the Romulans, but they did not cast, aside from T'Pol, Vulcans real well. Saval and T'Pol cast very well. I don't know what happens after that. We don't have the best Vulcans, so we just don't get the best actors to play them anymore. But thank you, everybody, for being here. We're reviewing the prospects of Star Trek right now before we move on to Landman Season 2 in the second part of our broadcast. Right now, rounding out Star Trek on the TV front. Bakula, still interested in Star Trek United, refreshing that. And what happened was Mike Sussman went into 2 very controversial interviews that could have gone off the rails. One's with Mary Trump. Hey, Outlaw Bill, good to see you. Josh Allen sacked 7 times. Jesus. Wow. Oh, yeah, I forgot to stop by. You know what? Today I was doing a thing on X, so I couldn't stop by for Thursday football. I usually do. Outlaw Bill brings everybody the NFL. Sub to Outlaw Bill's channel. He helps you get a football game. They are not easy to get in this day and time, my brothers. They are not easy to get anymore at all. And you know what? I'm on it. Outlaw Bill is got the NFL cornered, and if you go there, sometimes you hear me calling games. Check out Outlaw Bill on YouTube and your other great streaming providers. Let me put his name there in the chat so I can highlight it for you. Sorry, guys. Like I said, I can't talk and type with you guys at the same time. How Doomcock does it is beyond me. Outlaw Bill is going to get you a free football game or 2 every week. Looks like tomorrow he's got the Texans versus the Buffaloes. So Bison versus cow, like 2 dueling cattle industries here. Outlaw Bill will have the game. Now 8 times? What has he got? Sam Darnold disorder? Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me. We got 11 of you out there now. Please hit the like and follow button if you haven't already. It's great to have so many people with the channel and joining the channel. And as we wrap up the Star Trek part of the show, part 1 here, I have some reason to be hopeful. I'm not saying I have confidence in, because I have to think on this more, but I have some reason to be hopeful that the Star Trek people that they have writing this, the Spider-Man movie 1 people from the MCU, they were Paramount, right? They may have come from Paramount. We have to see. because early MCU stuff and crossovers, Paramount's still writing. They have Paramount writers still. They have people who came out of the Paramount universe. The Disney MCU, when it was good, those good movies were Paramount movies. And Paramount's going to look to get back in the game. And you know what? Look for Paramount to pick up some kind of superhero game. Maybe on a smaller scale, which is perfect for now. But on the big screen, the damage control and damage minimization, most importantly, because that was a damaged Spider-Man, the damage minimization that the team has shown over the course of their different projects is reassuring to me that we could possibly get a good Star Trek show. And I love that kiss makeup, buddy, but it's time for me to change comments. Now 8 times sacked. Josh Allen, just not having a great night. What can I tell you? Guys, I love you all, and I'm so glad you're here with me. You know what? On the big screen, Star Trek should be fine if they just do what they said. A new crew, possibly a new ship. Maybe it's an Enterprise. I'm agnostic on that one. A new crew. Move on from the members of the past. Maybe just mention that the Romulans are still out there. It would probably be under the original license, which was not given to Kurtzman, so the original continuity would be in there. And it would be interesting to see. And hello, Booger414. I'm sorry I missed you coming through the door. I apologize, a little late in the greeting there. And I just want to thank everyone for being here. Listen, on the big screen, the Star Trek movie, there is cause for hope. Wallace Lang, hello. There's not outright jubilation, and it's not a done deal, but there is great cause for hope. On the smaller screen, there is cause for cautious optimism, if not, maybe even anticipation. When was the last time we said this? Anticipated Star Trek United survived an interview with Mary Trump. The Mary Trump interview could have been rough. I don't know why Mary Trump has a Star Trek show, but I invite her on here to tell us why. I don't know why. I really don't know why. She's queen of trying to psychoanalyze TDS. She's raised it to an art form. And whatever. I don't know why she has a Star Trek show. She does. I guess she decided to monetize things. When she says that her uncle is addicted to fame and is narcissistic, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know Trump. I will say this: if it is true, it's genetic. Look at her. I mean, by God, you're on all sorts of TV and news all the time, and doing the Star Trek stream. Could it be that maybe Mary Trump not as in demand as she used to be? I guess MSNBC is not paying what they used to. Yeah, anticipation. You know what? I could anticipate. Imagine this opening up with a really cool battle in the tradition we saw in Enterprise, that older, better Star Trek where the space battles were meaningful and good, and we could enjoy Star Trek to a degree that we can't now, where Star Trek had a certain panache to it and a certain it was an event to a degree, at least for television. Now, Star Wars once had that wrapped up in movies. Star Wars movies were more of an event, but the Star Trek movies, they did have something to them. They were a little bit of an event. People look forward to them. Star Trek the Motion Picture, people want to see over and over again, enjoying it immensely. You know what? If they could have a smart Star Trek movie with just enough action in it, I think that people would be thrilled, and I think you would get repeat viewership. I went to see Star Trek 09 twice because the first time I saw it in IMAX, and I was convinced that the sensory overload was the problem and not the movie. I was like, it was me. I watched it wrong. I went back a week later and saw it in 2D, maybe even 2 days later. I remember sitting in the theater and trying to watch it again in IMAX and bailing on it because it was overwhelming my fucking brain. It was I thought the movie didn't make sense because of IMAX. That movie simply doesn't make sense. It's a dishonorable Kirk, and he sucked. I'm glad to move on from him. Captain Kirk belongs to another time. Let's get us a new captain, a new hero. And for the small screen, let's resurrect Star Trek Enterprise with Star Trek United. I am all for Star Trek United, and make that hashtag trend. Use it. The writer is his one-man PR machine. He survived the Mary Trump interview without getting into politics at all. Now, Mary Trump, as we know, very, very political. She has 2 kinds of episodes of her Star Trek stream. She has a Star Trek YouTube stream. Some of them are very, very political and fit in with Trek culture, where I believe they have had her as a guest. I'm not sure. I don't care. But that one, there were no questions about real life politics, real world politics, historical analogies, stuff more than 40, 50 years ago, sure. But history, yes. Politics, no. They kept it onto Star Trek, the history of Star Trek, the history of Enterprise, the lore of Enterprise, how to go forward, story ideas. No, it won't exactly be the West Wing in space. Yes, there's a chance for action. No political questions, no mention of her uncle. It was great. Sussman refused to take the bait. In the interview with Sean Ferrick, which is harder to watch because it has Sean Ferrick, he also kept it largely apolitical. I didn't watch every single second of it. It's hard to watch because I can't take Sean Ferrick. But Sean Ferrick did do his job and ask questions like, tell me your plans for these characters. What would you do with Archer, 20 years on? And you know what? The good thing about it is the real time has passed. And the fact that it is a prequel to Star Trek, people didn't like that. But it was, let's remember, this was before prequels got beaten to death. There's no Battlestar Galactica prequel yet. And this is done with a great deal of respect. So, with respect, we accept. So I accepted Star Trek Enterprise, especially by the time we got to season 4, when they were banging out some good but multi-episode tales. And there's threads that are going to run through the whole season and threads that are going to run through 6-7 episodes without being part of the 3-episode arc, like transcending that too. So a highly interwoven final season of Enterprise, much more like, non-episodic TV. Still scripted, still with an episodic nature to some closure at the end of every episode, giving Star Trek fans that much, but they do some good sci-fi, they do some amazing experiments, and they do have some great ideas in this final season of Enterprise, which we will be bringing to you starting on, this week. We will be continuing. We did Stormfront Part 1 and 2. That's really the end of Season 3 because we start that story at the end of Season 3 in one ridiculous minute. Great save. They got out of it as fast as they could. Good acting by the supporting cast. We had Big Pussy Steve Saripper was in there. It was pretty good. They are not all the same age and at school at the same time. You don't end up with the same crew at different ranks and assignments forced together that way. I'm not sure what you mean. If we're talking about Star Trek United, they would have moved forward from where they were at Enterprise. I don't think Hoshi would be in Starfleet. It doesn't make sense. She would probably be a Federation diplomat, though, because she has so much first contact experience. 2009. Okay. Yeah. You're right. Well, Spock isn't in this class, right? He's already in Starfleet, accounting for his Pike time. And Scotty is already gone there. So Spock is there, but he's not a student. Uhura's there, which doesn't make any sense for Kirk. But Kirk is supposed to be there late. Yeah, JJ just wanted to throw it together. And the only time that movie was ready to be a movie was when he reads the Captain's Oath at the end of the movie and they play the original Star Trek theme with a full orchestra. And that I enjoyed. And I'm like, well, that sucked. And that's been consistent with JJ. They get their mystery box out of the way and you're like, okay, now tell a story. And unfortunately what they do is they introduce yet another mystery box. These people have been refreshing the mystery box for years. They have never paid one off. We could have fixed that island in Lost. We could have made that an island, that made sense. But, that just wasn't in the cards from the Lost people. They didn't have the talent. They lacked the talent in Lost to do a story that made sense. Here's a story. I've said it here a couple of times. How about this? You find a partially wrecked ship with some stuff remaining. And hello to anyone who might be watching on Rumble. You know what? And thank you if you can give us a thumbs up. But you find a partially wrecked ship from the 1700s. You know what I mean? You find some rusty old flintlocks and an astrolabe and some moldy old book that tells a story about how there are evil natives on the island and they worship, unclean spirits or the devil or whatever. And both sides use their magic. And then we could find some records from the natives too, right? Like this is like a half season. You could have done it and it would be fine, And, Lost could have made sense. It was like, okay, what happened was European explorers were blown off course, wrecked up on the island. There were natives on the island. Neither side got along. There was a battle that ended in mutual extermination, and the evil spirits of ghosts of the both factions are causing all the problems and the polar bear and all the other shit on the island. And that could have at least given it a mysterious origin and a mysterious origin point. And, obviously you're looking at something like The Shining to sort of unconsecrate that ground. But, if you could have made that island, meaningful, then the show would be in reruns somewhere. There is not a lot of rerunning of Lost, despite it being a dominant show in its time, because the way the story ended was so empty and unfulfilling and people hated it. And J.J. Abrams has hopped from one vehicle to another without any consequences till now. Duster, his last show, canceled before it ended, and it was horrible. It was horrible. JJ, with everything on the line, trying to show that he could do it, did a show. He brought back Noah Hawley, or whatever his name is, Josh Hawley, whatever the guy's name, Josh Hawley, the guy who was in Lost, the main star of Lost. He brings him back, and the show's called Duster, so of course they have to drive around in a Duster because retro 70s is all the rage, and already it's feeling tired because he's doing too many things that are popular right now, and so what they do, they're driving around, and this guy is doing like neutral drops and like e-brake spin outs, and he's got a little girl with him. And the little girl keeps saying the F word over and over and over, and she's like under 12. She's maybe 10, maybe less. And she's like, come on, what the fuck's the matter with you, loser? And he's like, okay. And like what we have now is like a child cucking a grown man, and it goes on for like 7-8 minutes. I turned it off. There's no way they were going to pay that off or redeem it. No mystery was worth that. And what happened was it was canceled before it finished, so no one will ever know what the mystery was. And JJ gets off the hook in a way because he doesn't have to pay that one off. But I guess it really sucks for him because he doesn't get to show that he could pay something off. JJ, more than anyone, needs like a 10-episode streaming show. It's like closed loop where at the end it makes sense and he's finished with his story, ready to move on. That would be something. But unfortunately, instead, he is stuck in this mystery box, and he's going to prove that he's some kind of Renaissance man when he's not. The worst thing that ever happened to him was Steven Spielberg noticed him and gave him a job working on restoring and doing some special features for Steven Spielberg's DVDs when that was a big thing. And that's where JJ comes from. I had to watch a Steven Spielberg documentary. And again, if you're watching, and when you listen to this like radio, I understand that's how it goes. It's cool. But if you could watch the browse tab open for a while, it really helps. Also, over on Rumble, I'm like one Rumble rant away from their payout, sirs and madams. Most of it through the generosity of Vic Fontaine. I really only run that side of it for Vic Fontaine because he's such a great Star Trek fan. I'll go through the aggravation of it because he's a great guy. And that's not like a call out or a pitch for anyone to do anything. I know a lot of people watch it on Rumble later because there's an anger towards YouTube. And that's just the reality of the world we live in. I think, we all sort of have seen this happening. And you know what? J.J. Abrams doesn't know how to make a movie that makes sense. He knows how to write a beginning. You're right about this one. What he does is, and I finally came up with a way to put it, he wants the beginning to be great so that you're enthralled. But then he can't pay it off. He overpromises and underdelivers like a bad car dealership, right? The Duster, ironically, was a really good car. But like what happens is he writes a beginning because he has no intention to pay it off. And they say what happened with Star Wars was that there was so little substance to The Force Awakens that Rian Johnson trolls him back by exposing and changing the characters dramatically and ignoring most of what JJ gave him as notes because it was useless. Now, while Rian might have been right, he went about what he did the wrong way. He could have healed the franchise instead of looking to his own needs to make the splashiest movie ever. And you know what? Natasha Lyonne and her bad, glass onion movies, I like her, but the hell. That's your star. she was in Blade, which made me confused when I saw her in Fantastic Four. I was like, she's a sightless character in Blade, Covenant, or Trinity, sorry. She is a sightless. She's playing Ben Grimm's girlfriend who ends up sightless. Are they like, for whatever reason, although one is 25 years older, trying to tell us that this is the same character? And I guess it wasn't. But that was a weird and confusing curveball to throw us in the integration of the Fox MCU into the Disney MCU. And boy, what a turd that Fantastic Four movie just boom. We got to get ready for like the worst of 2025. And this was just a year of like, wow. We started out with Snow White, and it's not like we stayed in a free fall because it couldn't go down really from that. But that sort of was the bar. Broken movies partially repaired with an attempt to take the wokeness out. The first one was Snow White. You could see that there were 2 or 3 different filmings. Her hair looks different sometimes. She's got a weird wig sometimes. Her affect and her delivery are totally different. There's 3 different kinds of delivery. Friendly Snow White, standoffish Snow White, and real bitch Snow White. They tried to compromise. Standoffish Snow White just didn't work. I don't know why. But what a year. So Landman, though, we got that. As the year winds down, we get Landman. And it is holding up quite well. Maybe it's time to get a Landman picture up here to get people a little interested. Because you know what? There's nothing like those images of the Landman ladies that everybody kind of loves. And you know what? There is a Landman Season 2, Episode 1 video essay that I would hope that you guys would enjoy. But let's see. You know what? My apologies to anyone who went to TCU. Because, man, TCU just takes a beating. Here's one character we didn't see, but the actress is hot. Kayla Wallace wasn't in this one. Rebecca Falcone is in charge of acquisitions and land buying for MTEX, which is now run by Cammie, the wife of Monty. It's Demi Moore. And she had what everyone was saying was an A-plus performance and, you know, one of the best performances, if not the best performance of her career, in a well-crafted scene where she delivered dialogue powerfully and delivered a profane and powerful smackdown to what we could only assume was the NTEP's investors. There is some sort of rights group that meets. They may have charge of the mineral rights in the patch. It may be an ownership group. Or it might be the MTEX investors. Cammie just says she called the meeting, and that's established by and validated by Tommy. And then they also say that, you know, it's the Serengeti out there, you know, kill or be killed. And she goes out and she makes a speech, you know, Monty was never a hunter. He didn't see the need. He hunted you. Which is why I'm not sure if it's the investors, because why would you tell them that? I think it was everybody who had rights to land in the patch. And she's saying to them, you know, in this oil-rich area, if you sleep on me, I'll buy your rights out from under you. If you don't keep an eye on me, I'll suck the oil right out of your claim with some weird drilling tech. If you don't, like, you know, keep the distribution line, you know, exclusive, I'll take it over and I'll freeze you out. If you think that I'm going to walk away from this, you're wrong. I'm not some weak little widow. I've slain bigger monsters than you in my life, and I'll take you down. And she shocks this room full of people. And Demi Moore with a powerful moment that I have to say, it really, it'll give you pause. It gave me pause. Fantastic performance in Landman episode 1 of season 2. And that's just one of the first things we see. Then we move on to other characters and other stuff we see. And it is really quite something and really quite the shock, sirs and madams. I uploaded it to YouTube today, but I'll let you see just a little bit of it in a quick Admiral Teag preview. What sound? Hey everybody, it's your buddy Admiral Teag. Taylor Sheridan's Landman, starring Billy Bob Thornton, has returned for Season 2 with a debut episode that truly delivers, featuring strong performances and checking in with almost all characters. So there you have it. There is an entire video essay. It's 8.5 minutes long. There's only one commercial in there. Only one. That's less than television. I was not greedy about this one. It's pinned to the top of the chat. Like it now, watch it later. If you don't have time, put it in your queue to watch after the show. Please help me get a bump on this one in the night. Get it going. It is right there in the middle, like where we usually do. So it could go either way. I'd like to see this one take off. I pushed it hard on Critically Thinking and Drinking. Hopefully that will work. And pushing it hard here now by having my show tonight. But I've been showing up pretty much on time on Thursdays between 10 and midnight, regularly. Sometimes we start at 10. Sometimes we start at 11. On desperation days, we'll go early and start at 8. But I've been showing up on Thursdays mostly at 10 and 11. And it's been great to see you guys. Kayla Wallace is really let's get her back up there. Yeah, let's get Kayla back on stage. She is really beautiful, and what's really weird is her character is nowhere near as pretty as her. Let's see if I can get the Landman characters for you so we can show you what Rebecca looks like when she's not. This is her out of character. In character, now she looks pretty a lot of the time, but this is Rebecca in character. Okay, so this is Kayla Wallace. And this is Rebecca. So, we're seeing like she's able to change herself. She's able to, look different to a degree. Now, I haven't heard her voice, but she does a great job. And, hey, Wallace Lang, it's Kayla Wallace. You got to love that name, right? What should have been made was made for Star Wars was a movie, was The Heir of the Empire or the Thrawn trilogy. We're seeing their attempt at doing that and what they're going to do with it. They think they're doing that. I mean, and it's terrible. I will tell you, I think that there's a shot. We talk Disney all day here on YouTube, and most people focus on that. I don't do a lot of Disney. I also try to stay away from what's called reverse pixie dusting. There's two kinds of Disney streams, maybe three. There are pixie dusters who love Disney and say it's going to be great. Then there are reverse pixie dusters, and we all know who they are, and they say Disney's doomed, it's going to be over, and they're the ones telling you that when it's hotter in Orlando than it is in Kuwait City, that means that no one wants to go to Disneyland. That means that it's historic, and there is sometimes some not dishonesty, but let's call it fake news from the reverse pixie dusters who have to say Disney's going out of business tomorrow. I want to tell you why there are so many more Disney streamers than there are people who will bother to do Star Trek and Paramount and Landman. Disney's huge. They field the equivalent of 10 football teams every year worth of terrible garbage movies, and they all fail. Two of them work out, and they don't make enough to cover for the other ones, so they're mostly failing out there and failing big. And what happens? We see them dominating the conversation because they can make mistakes for the next 100 years, people. The war chest is filled. They have money beyond your wildest dreams of avarice. The park was only seeing 50,000 people a week in August. Florida's lowest month of tourism is always August. Florida's second lowest month of tourism is February. In Florida and in Disneyland, it is lockstep. Listen to this one. Disney World, the Florida one, Orlando's resort in Florida, Disney World. In Disney World, in Florida, you must go to Florida to go to Disney World. One is within the other. They gave them a county-sized piece of land with this Reedy Creek thing. Now, they're always saying they're going to take that away. That law is pretty ironclad. I don't know if you can take that away without breaking some laws, but you know what? We have a president who's kind of activist on the legal front, may be able to do a couple of things about that. Reedy Creek, I don't know how much longer it'll last, but here's the thing. Disney's war chest, think about this. Think about this for a minute. For decades, they released one successful movie after another, after another, after another. They reinvested. They own a lot of their own company. They own parks everywhere. These parks do well because even though it's not so great, their archive, which is great, is something that would sell the park. So you want to bring your kids there and show them stuff. And you're there before you realize that maybe they have a crazy agenda and maybe they want to show you some wild stuff that wasn't part of your plan and that you never thought you'd see at Disneyland. So much for 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. This is like 20,000 feet below dignity. And some of this crazy stuff we've seen pictures of. I wasn't there, but there's enough pictures of Snow White with a freaking beard and it's a guy. I mean, and strange stuff like that seems to be in Disney. Now, with AI and other stuff, we can make any image we want, make it look real, but we've seen it a lot, and I haven't seen a lot of debunking, so Disney seems to be committed to this. Guys, they can just take this, lock it on cruise control, and just like start playing fucking video games. Like, they are just going to keep cruising. They can blow through several accidents. They can knock a couple of motorcyclists off the road. All they have to do is not plow into a truck, and they're going to be around for decades of fucking up. They have billions and billions of billions, untold dreams of avarice beyond your wildest dreams. If we took the money that Disney had and put it into $100 bills, we could lay those $100 bills end to end and reach the moon 280,000 miles away. They have money locked away in places they're never going to tell us. You don't think they don't have Cayman Island accounts? Of course they do. I'm sure of it. Do I know? Of course not. They're secret for a reason, so I can't say authoritatively whether they have them or not. But believe you me, Paramount barely survived what turned into a 20-year slow-motion attempt to change ownership. The Redstones were stuck there till 3 years ago. Then that sale took 2.5 freaking years. It got put on hold, and while it's on hold by the former administration, they run a piece that's not so favorable to the current administration that ends them up in legal trouble, and they lose the legalities on that one and end up behind the 8 ball. So I ask you, was there a vested interest in holding up the sale of the Paramount Corporation? Were they afraid that so-called conservatives, and this is Hollywood, so who knows what they mean by this, but conservatives, the Ellisons, were going to put on quality shows like Landman with beautiful Kayla Wallace in it, showing off how great TV can be. Fun for the whole family is an idea that could come back again. You know what? Ariana is pretty cute too. Let's see if I can't show you a picture of her. We are not lacking for beautiful women. This is not as good of a picture of Ariana as some of the other ones, but you know what? Landman, just Paramount for $9 a month. It's $7.99 now. It's going up to either going up to $8.99. $9. Gold tier. No commercials. The entire history of Star Trek. I'm not a Paramount salesman, and I have some problems with how they run their network right now and their movie studio right now. And I could say a few things, and I would ask, please, humbly, for the Ellisons, please meet with me. The Star Wars people are meeting with Star Wars Theory. They reached out to him. Meet with Doomcock. Talk to him at least. Meet with me. I would love to give you some ideas. I do it every day on this show, giving one idea after another far more viable than we've seen from Star Wars or Star Trek. But with Landman, Ariana, she is a babe. I made sure to get her assets into the episode. She looks great. Kayla Wallace is not in the episode. I'm sure when we see her, she will look great. But let's get everyone's famous Miss Hips, Tits, and Power. It is, Angela. Ainsley might be hotter, but Angela is almost naked all the time. Although Ainsley, not far behind. The actress playing Ainsley is almost 30, so don't feel bad about enjoying the fact that Ainsley's really gorgeous because the character is whatever, about to enter high school. College. They're done with high school. All right, so here's the deal. Ainsley is so unworldly, so poorly educated, and it looks like her parents paid for her transcripts because she's the top 10% of her class, or it's the dumbest high school in the world. Ainsley's going to go to TCU. Sorry, Robert Wright's Gen X Pop Culture. It looks like TCU is going to be taking a beating unless she fails out fast. They are so unhappy that she is going there. And Ainsley's philosophy would have played well in mid-20th century Germany. Watch the Landman video that's taped to the top of this show. It's pinned to the top. Watch it. It's going to be in the description. Please watch the Landman video essay. Help it trend. It's doing okay on Reddit. It's not doing terrible on YouTube, but you know what? It is starved for likes, starved for love, and I would love to see it break out of the middle. It is performing very well, getting a few views every hour, but you know what? As we look at the analytic for this one, I would love to see this explode a little more, and I would love to see it, really become like a touchstone for the channel. Because as we approach 50 views, which is not so bad for something that dropped at 11 o'clock, you know what? I do appreciate everyone who took any of their precious time. And Dave, stepping away. Have a great night, my man, Dave. You are the best. Check out Blue Morpho. I highlighted him earlier. And, check out my Landman review. Episode 1 was a banger. We'll talk full spoilers a little later when the Landman panel gets here later in the week. And I think Sunday, the Landman Live is going to be some great stuff. And then during the week, we will have more discussions. Tuesday night, I don't know, this coming week could be an endangered species. Sunday, Landman Live, the most successful live show we've had in a while. Saturday, Star Trek This Week, Home. It's a great episode. I enjoyed it. It's very different. And yeah, thank you, buddy, for pumping Dave C's channel. Dave C is a great guy and a strong ally of the truth and upright. You know what? I can tell you this about Dave C. He would never lie. He would never cheat. He would never steal. And he would never compromise. Does that sound familiar, Dave C? Those are things that Dave C would never do. He's a very forthright guy. We missed out on what would have been like, an amazing police chief. He's got some investigative powers. And you know what? The video for Landman, I'll be happy when it hits the time it took to make it. I had to make it twice. The first time I was 70% of the way through. I forgot to save it. I'm doing that more often now. For every 2 minutes of video that I create, I do a save. It's too much work to start over from scratch again. I was almost done at 7:30 last night, starting to listen to Doomcock. Then I was working while I listened. I fucked up. I just deleted the whole thing, and I had to start over again. Thankfully, I had my narrative route planned out, and the recording was already done as far as my voice. So I do a good job of wrapping up the events of the episode and recapping you, bringing you up to speed, I think, and also, telling you what we thought of the episode. Landman Live, a great, fun experience. 90 minutes of pure Landman fire last time. We're going to try to keep that to the runtime. I think that's the sweet spot. YouTube seems to like it. As far as the Landman essay, again, I'll drop it into the description for this episode. I really do hope that we can get some people watching the Death in a Sunset review. It's interesting. I think you'll like I think you'll like what I did with it. And I did put a little bit of art into it. It is, I think, an artful review. I think that it's an artfully made video essay. I think I finally got there. And I'm going to put my Landman essay in the description for this one. So if you're coming through later, you can just look in the description and you can watch there. It's also, if you're watching right now, pinned to the chat. I can't wait to see next week's episode. I want to catch up with all the other shenanigans going on at MTEX. Demi Moore, a career high performance, really doing some great stuff like I hadn't expected from her, overperforming for the abilities I had thought that she had. And like I said, the Landman video essay, right in the middle there. Like it now, watch it later. And I think with that, I can show you Angela's Silicon Valley again. That is the most Silicon Valley. She's going to have to show it all to us again. Allie Larder's happy to do it. She's still beautiful. And, it's like you think about it. It's like
Spock!
No, that wasn't the Spock. I wanted this one.
Spock? Why? All you had to do was pull the trigger.
Yeah. You could come to my quarters, Allie. Allie Larder from Heroes, still looking good all these years later. Congratulations. You know what? I'm just going to say science and nature and willpower came together on this one. She didn't stay this way from not jogging and working out and eating sensibly and being hyper aware of her physique. She still looks as good as she did in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back all those years ago. And she's got great acting skill. She plays a bitch like no one you have ever seen before. She has some of the best bitch energy you've ever seen. She promises her husband she's going to throw a temper tantrum, and she does. It's fantastic. She is unrestrained and pure like amygdala hijack of the prefrontal cortex, if you know what I'm saying. I mean, absolutely no reasoning. She keeps threatening her husband that she's going to pitch a fit. She wants a house. She gets it. She wants to serve dinner to people in her own special weird food that Ainsley won't eat anyway. She just pushes it around her plate because she's freaky and crazy, and I think maybe Ainsley's got some problems that way. And it's just like, Angela is such a bitch. It's like,
you asshole.
That she'll just give it right back to you. She's like, she's going to spend like $3 million. She's not buying some kind of house just to get by it. She's buying like a mansion. And like Tommy's like, I don't think this is a good time for you to buy it, being as how where you are in your cycle. And it's funny, he says that her menstrual cycle is reversed. She's normal for she's mean for 5. She's normal for she's mean for 28 days and normal for 5. It's reversed. And I don't think she's ever nice. But when he finds out at the end of Death and a Sunset who died, it's pretty tough, I guess, for him. It's something no one ever wants to hear. And she's silently there by his side, indicating that maybe, possibly, she's starting to evolve, because it seems like what kept Monty at least happy. Now, he was miserable about money, but he enjoyed his life, and he was in love. That seemed to be the thing that kept Monty afloat and kept Monty even-keeled enough to make the deals. The stress eventually destroys him. And now that Tommy's the landman in charge of MTX, the stress is starting to destroy him. And he's thinking about going back to whiskey. I think that by the middle of the season, he's going to break and have at least one brief relapse. But it could get even worse. I mean, it's not over yet, right? It's still going on. But you know what? Death and a Sunset, Taylor Sheridan's Darkest Hour. A complete breakdown. A video for you to watch, judge for yourself. You should also check out the episode. George, tell me, what happened here?
Carthaginians defending the city were attacked by 3 Roman legions. Arab women stripped them of their tunics and their swords and lances. The soldiers lay naked in the sun. 2,000 years ago, I was here. Well, this match will not be postponed.
I'll never get over how great that music is. That is the greatest soundtrack of all time. Taylor Sheridan at least makes decent use of music. There's a pretty good, moody, country-ish kind of song that plays for the theme song of this show. No Taylor Sheridan show has a sweeping theme song. The closest thing they came to was 1923. It's just not his thing. He has good incidental music, though, and his shows flow. His opening theme songs are like 25 seconds long. It's real short. He just wants to get you into the show. People were complaining that Death in a Sunset, the first episode, was only 45 minutes long. I'm not going to make a big deal about that if it was 4 to 5 minutes shorter than people thought it should be after a year away. It was pure, great, packed, efficient storytelling, not one wasted minute. It was like a guitar player who really just had his stuff together, like Keith Richards' rare guitar solo. Like, did not waste a note. Didn't waste a note. You know, just like everything in this, every beat of the story, perfect. Boom, 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 boom. Perfect timing. Absolutely fantastic. It was great to watch. It was fun to see. Death in a Sunset was, I guess people were saying it's too short at 45 minutes. And other people were saying, well, I don't like Sam's entrance into this. Sam Elliott shows up, and it's similar to what he had been through in the show 1883, where he comes into this one having lost a family member, which we find out is Tommy's mom. That's the thing they have in common. That's the big deal. But you know what? We're set up for a Texas-sized funeral and a Texas-sized family reunion next week when we get ready for the next episode of Landman. which, you know what? We don't know the deal yet. There is 8 weeks committed to, which means they could compress episodes 8, 9, and 10. Or it could be an 8-episode season. Or it could be like last season where there were 7 weeks but 8 episodes, and they interwove 7 and 8 into one episode. And I got to say, I'll say it again, it saved 1923. That was not going to work out if we had to wait another week. But that brings us to the end of another one. I want to thank everyone who's here. Saving Star Trek is brought to you by the genius of Gene Roddenberry, the insanity of crazy madman, and, you know, like sometimes part-time idiot, Admiral Teag, and the love of all of you. Let's end our poll. Do you have faith of the heart that the Star Trek Enterprise sequel, Star Trek United, will happen? Well, it was on CBS-owned publicity, so 31% of you who've got faith have reason to. Sir, I don't think so. 54%. Like Stream C result 15%. We'll find out. Looks like a lot of people still don't think it's going to happen. You might be right. There's the results in our stream. As you can see, 13 of you voted. Thank you for making it scientifically accurate. And you know what? I may just show up tomorrow. I'm going to drop a DM earlier in the day to Northern English if he wants to hang out. So, you know, keep your eyes peeled. You know, Admiral, either solo, maybe with a guest, maybe with Germ, maybe in the afternoon, you know, towards the end of the afternoon before Doomcock in that sweet spot there. You know, and I'll be back Saturday at 10 o'clock where, you know, we'll go from 3 hours with the best Star Trek breakdown you can get. We'll be doing Home, and we'll be doing Star Trek news about this movie and anticipating how great that could be. So that's looking good for everybody, and I want to thank my co-host for the Star Trek show, Sean, for making this great piece of media for us that we can all enjoy together. Let's put this one on. Here we go.
Incoming Sydney Sweeney video. Set boners to full. Lubrication supply sufficient for projected fapping level. Paper towels to standby. Turbo lift door secured and locked. Wives and girlfriend interruption probability at 12%. You may commence masturbatory actions at any time.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I guess Landman would say to you, you know, my Astroglid's just nothing but water-based garbage made in a petroleum chemical-based petrochemical shell. That tube of Astroglid's made from oil, and you should just use petroleum jelly. It's an oil byproduct. Landman would go with oil. He is the reverse Hank Hill. It's like, you know, I believe in cooking with propane. I believe in cooking with crude oil. I'll just set it on fire and stick a hot dog into it while it's burning. Landman's got some strange philosophies, but you know what?
She was attacked by what appears to be essentially a robot.
Spock! Why, Spock? Why? All you had to do was just pull the trigger.
Insufficient sensor data. Incorrect.
10 fucking grueling hours.
Oh, that new Trek garbage. It's such nonsense. All right. Well, you know what? I promised it to you. Here she is. It's Sydney Sweeney. I love you all, and I'll be back at least Saturday night at 10. 9 p.m. watch party with Resolute Germ. Don't miss that. It's must-see YouTube. Talk to you later, guys. Here's Sydney Sweeney. Can I finish?